It only took 4 chords for Avatar to put its audiences on a completely different planet and to create one of the most iconic and successful movie releases of all time. And that is what composer James Horner gave us with the Avatar soundtrack. Let me show you what I mean.
Let's go!
There it is. That's the chord. So this is the sequence of 4 chords, okay? And it goes like this. It's very, very simple. In this particular part of the film, we have C sharp minor, which goes to B major, and this is where we get our Avatar sound. This is the kind of the chord that I think really encapsulates the entire theme. This is the part that everybody can immediately recognize as being Avatar, right? So we have C sharp minor, B, and then F sharp major, and then back to C sharp minor. So really, if you think about it, I mean, it's actually only 3 chords. It's just the sequence is always in that set of 4. And because of the relationship between these chords, this is what I think gives it this almost otherworldly sound. And of course, the context makes a huge difference, obviously. But there is something about this sequence of C sharp minor to B major to F sharp major and back to C sharp minor. Something about that is a little bit perhaps unexpected or deceptive in a sense. Now, if we take a look at these first 2 chords, C sharp minor to B major, it sets up an expectation, and that expectation could go a couple of different ways. And in fact, we can look to some of James Horner's other work for an example of this. If we go back to Titanic, another film that James Horner scored, you can actually hear a very similar chord progression going on. But where does it go from here? That's something everybody knows. You can instantly recognize it. And that's just simply C sharp minor, B major, A major. Just crawling down like that, back up. That's it. That's perhaps maybe a more conventional chord to follow these first 2. Our massive holiday sale is currently ongoing, but only through Christmas. You can get up to 70% off if you get our entire Academy bundled together. It's 6 courses all together. Or if you don't want to get all 6 courses, we have 3 course bundles together for $99. And if you're just looking to pick up a single course, all of our courses are currently 50% off. So use the link down in the description below while you still can. All right, let's keep going. Now I want to talk about 2 things that I think make the Avatar chord sequence so distinctive. Now the first thing we're going to talk about is the number system, because in order to understand exactly what we mean by, well, this might be the expectation here, we need to understand why that is. If we take the major scale, instead of calling every degree of the scale its note name, we're simply going to call it a number, right? So if we have C major, this is no longer C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 1, and you can continue on, 9, 10, we can get into all kinds of things up there. Let's look at E major for a moment. It sounds like this. And if we replace all of the note names, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, with numbers, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 or 1. Let's look at those chords that we said maybe are a little bit more expected in this key. We have C sharp minor, B major. This is a very common chord progression that you might hear, and it's built on the number system. We have the 6th degree of the scale, which is C sharp, and we build a minor chord on that. Then we go down to the 5th degree of the scale, the 5, and that's B, and then we simply go to our 1 chord. And in the Titanic example, we went 6, 5, 4. That's another really beautiful example as well. All happening in the general, what we would call the key of E major, right? So this is the first part that's important to understand if we want to know why the Avatar chord sequence is so distinctive. Now the second part has to do with why I'm playing certain chords major and certain chords minor. And to understand this, we're also going to look at our number system. Every degree of the scale can be built out into a chord, and when we utilize the notes of whatever scale we happen to be playing, in this case we're talking about E major, when we build out those chords starting on every degree of the scale, it's going to form what we call the naturally occurring triad triad within that key. Let me show you what I mean. If we look at the entire shape of E major, we get this. We have 4 sharps. This is what it looks like, okay? So if we're gonna build a triad, so we're gonna stack thirds. There's our major, our major 1 chord. If we start on any degree of the scale and simply use the notes that exist within that scale to build the chord, we wind up with a chord that is either major or minor in most cases. And that's simply the chord that we built only using the notes within the scale. So if we start on the 2nd degree of the scale, stack our thirds, we get a minor chord. Now we don't get a major chord because this note does not exist. This A sharp does not exist in the key of E major. Right? We have A and B, but we do not have an A sharp, okay? So that's why that F sharp chord is going to be minor. Let's keep on going. The G sharp chord is also minor. The A chord is major. The B chord is major. The C sharp chord is minor, and this is the only exception to the rule. We have our 7th degree of the scale, in this case it's D sharp. That chord is actually going to be diminished. But these are the naturally occurring, what we might call the diatonic, naturally occurring triads within a major scale. In the key of E major, we have E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A major, B major, C sharp minor, D sharp diminished, and that brings us back to E major. And in fact, talking about all of these diatonic naturally existing triads within the major scale, if you want a free resource, it's completely for free. It shows you all of the chords in every major scale in every key so that you can see exactly what chord would be major or minor in whatever key you're in. We've thrown together that resource. It's a free PDF download. All you gotta do is click in the link in the description and we will send it straight to your inbox. So check that out. Now let's convert that into our number system so that it can be universally applied to any key. We have our 1 chord, which is major. The 2 is minor. The 3 is minor. The 4 is major. The 5 is major. The 6 is minor. The 7th is diminished, and that brings us back to our 1 chord. So you can see how no matter what key we're in, if we apply this general way of thinking about our diatonic naturally occurring triads within any major key, we have certain expectations about whether a chord is going to be major or minor. Now let's go back to our first couple examples of starting on in the key of E major. Let's go back to our 6, our C sharp minor chord here, to our 5, our B major chord. Now those are the diatonic naturally existing triads within E major, which is why when we hear our 1 chord after that, that chord progression is very expected, it makes sense, it's very conventional, it's used all over the place. Very common. That's not something that's unusual to our ears at all. And if we use the 4 like we hear in Titanic, that is also very, very conventional, very normal. It's the diatonic naturally occurring 4th. It's major, right? Right? All of those chords are the chords that naturally exist within the major scale. This is where Avatar kind of gives us our first little deceptive moment here that I think totally adds to placing the audience on another world. It really makes us feel how mystical and magical Pandora is as a concept. We've set up this expectation, but then we go somewhere else entirely before letting it go back to that minor position. It's a very small change, but it makes all the difference in the world. Check out the difference here. Now, normally, if we were going to go to this chord, the chord built on F sharp, which happens to be the 2nd degree of E major. Now, the 2nd, if you go back to our formula, we know the 2nd is normally going to be a minor chord. We would expect to hear that would be a little bit more expected. It's still a kind of maybe a different motion going 6, 5, 2. It works very well. You could certainly use it, but it's a little bit different, right? As opposed to like a 6, 5, 4, which makes a little more sense. It's a little more conventional, right? But we don't use our naturally occurring 2 chord. Instead, we change it to a major chord, which sometimes we consider to be a subdominant or a secondary dominant. It's basically a chord that we turn major that doesn't naturally exist in its major form in the diatonic triads of the major scale. So we have this F sharp major chord, and this is really what gives us this whoa. On top of that, returning then to our minor 6 chord, that C sharp minor chord, I think that really just seals the deal and making this like a whoa. This kind of just feels a little bit otherworldly. We didn't really do anything other than just play a normal triad. It's just we used a major one instead of where you might expect it to be minor. Check that out. I mean, it is just absolutely beautiful, and the combination of how James Horner used instruments, different instruments, to kind of create this mystical kind of sound, it just places you on Pandora. It is truly this otherworldly experience, and it's something as simple as just changing the quality of a chord. It's so brilliant in how simple it is, and we hear this theme utilized everywhere in the film, so it really becomes synonymous with the incredible visuals that we're experiencing as we watch the film. This one is the exact same chord progression, except instead of being in the key of E major, we've now gone to the key of G flat major, or E flat minor. And in that key, once again, let's apply our formula for our diatonic naturally occurring triads within a major scale. We have the 1 is major, the 2 is minor. A flat minor would be the naturally existing triad here. 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7 is diminished, and that brings us back. So when we have our 6, our 5, both of those normally exist, but then except we have our A flat, our 2 chord, we flipped to B major. A flat major here, that's the chord that's kind of subverting our expectations compared to the normal minor chord we might hear there. We hear this instead. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and this just pops up everywhere. I mean, listen to this. Now we've done it in this sort of 12-8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or 6-8, or however you want to call that. So we're in the key of D major here. So we have 6, 5, and our 2, which we've made a major chord. It shows up everywhere. There's our 6, 5, 2. Beautiful adaptation of this melody. It's exactly the same thing, it just happens to be played much slower in a different tempo with different instrumentation for a different application in the film. We've talked about theme writing on this channel so much in the past, and this is really a great example of that. When you take one theme, something as simple as this 4-chord sequence, and we have a little melody that goes on top of it. That's it. And you can apply that anywhere. You can change it into any key you want. You can use it at any volume, any tempo, any intensity, and it puts you in the space that you're supposed to be in as an audience member when you're watching the film. It really reminds us, oh yeah, that's right, we're on Pandora because that sound, those 4 chords tell me that I'm on Pandora. And while we often spend a lot of our time talking about John Williams and Hans Zimmer, James Horner definitely deserves a seat at that table because he is, without a doubt, one of the greats. And Avatar was just a perfect example of showing us that. How 4 chords can put you in a different galaxy, on a completely different planet. And with the new Avatar out on December 16th, I have not yet had a chance to see it, but I'm very excited to see how Simon Franklin, I'm sorry if I mispronounced Franklin, is that correct? How Simon Franklin has utilized what James Horner established as the Avatar sound and develop it into the new thing. I can't wait to see how that all has come together. Don't forget, our holiday sale runs through Christmas. You can get 70% off our entire bundle of 6 courses that we currently have available on the Cornell Music Academy. Or if you want to just pick up a few courses, we have 3 packs of courses available for $99. We have our Ultimate Intro bundle, as well as the Improv Essentials bundle, both available for 99 bucks. And if you're just looking to pick up a single course, every single one of our courses is currently 50% off. So use the link down in the description and pick up whatever you want to pick up that you've been wanting to check out from the Cornell Music Academy. And once again, don't forget that sale runs out on Christmas, so take advantage of it while it is still available. It's the best way that you can support the channel, and I very much appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one.